Hey friends, it's Beth from the Children's Place at the Wood County District Public Library. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I can't wait to see you again soon because I miss you so much. I hope you guys are still reading a lot of books, and when the weather is nice out, you're able to spend some time outside if you can. Today, I figured I would bring some magic to you guys as I have my Mickey Mouse hat on. And joining us today is my friend Sulley for today's story time. And with permission from Disney Publishing Worldwide, I'll be reading one of the 12 stories from the 5-minute Disney Pixar stories by Disney Books for you guys. This story is called Monsters University Teaming Up. When Mike Wazowski was a young monster, his class visited Monsters, Inc., where the top scarers in Monstropolis worked. These monsters went through special doors into the human world to collect screams from human children. Then the screams were changed into energy for the town. During the trip, Mike snuck through an open door and watched as a scarer made a child scream. That's when Mike decided he wanted to be a scarer when he grew up. Mike worked hard until he was accepted to Monsters University. On the first day of college, Mike's bus pulled up in front of the gates of a beautiful old campus. Wow, Mike breathed. He checked out the clubs and something called the Scare Games, a contest in which students competed to see who was scariest. On the first day of class, Mike went to Scaring 101. Who can tell me the principles of an effective roar? Professor Knight asked. Mike started to answer, but just then, roar! Another monster surprised everyone. The monster who had roared was named James P. Sullivan. His friends called him Sulley. Scaring came easily to him, so he never studied. He was only interested in having fun and goofing off. His grades showed it. Mike, on the other hand, studied every night. He read every book on scaring and practiced his scare techniques. He didn't want to fail his final exam. If he did, he'd be out of the scaring program. On the day of the scaring final, Mike and Sulley began to argue. Then they got into a roaring face-off. Everyone was watching, including the head of the School of Scaring, Dean Hardscrabble. Sulley accidentally knocked over a scream can. It held the record-breaking scream Dean Hardscrabble had collected in her scaring days. The canister hit the floor. Ah! Hardscrabble's scream was gone. I'm so sorry, cried Mike. It was an accident, insisted Sulley. Dean Hardscrabble proceeded to give Mike and Sulley their final exams, and she was not impressed. She decided neither would be continuing in the scaring program. Sulley was speechless and stormed out of the room. Hardscrabble turned to Mike. Mr. Wazowski, what you lack is something that can't be taught. You're not scary. Mike was crushed. The next semester, Mike and Sulley were put in the Scream Can design program. They were miserable. Until Mike remembered the scare games. Dean Hardscrabble made a deal with Mike. If you win, I'll let your entire team into the scaring program. But if you lose, you will leave Monsters University. All he had to do was find a fraternity to join so he could compete. There was only one option, Oozma Kappa, a group of misfits who weren't exactly scary. The problem was Oozma Kappa needed one more member. The star player has just arrived, Sulley told Mike. Mike was not happy, but he had no choice. He and Sulley moved into the Oozma Kappa house and met Don, Art, Squishy, Terry, and Terry. In the opening event of the Scare Games, the first team to make it through a tunnel of stinging glow urchins would win. The last would be out. Mike and Sulley tied for second, but they'd left the rest of their team behind, so Oozma Kappa came in last. Luckily, another team was disqualified. Oozma Kappa was still in the games. Oozma Kappa made it through the next challenge too, but everyone except Mike and Sulley wanted to quit. We're built for other things, Don explained. So Mike decided to take the gang on a field trip to Monsters, Inc. While there, Mike realized something. There's no one type of scarer. The best scarers use their differences to their advantage. Mike and Sulley admitted that they'd been acting like jerks. We could be a great team, Mike said. We just need to work together. The next morning, Mike and Sulley felt inspired. They woke up bright and early and leaped out of bed. They trained the OKs and everything they would need to know for the next two events. How to scare kids and to avoid teenagers. How to hide and even how to do scary feet drills to make sure everyone was in tip-top condition. Oozma Kappa was even more determined to win. They made it through the Don't Scare the Teen and the Hide and Sneak events. They were finally a team. And even better, they were friends. But that night, Sulley ran into Dean Hardscrabble. Tomorrow, each of you must prove you're undeniably scary, she said. And I know for a fact that one of you is not. Sulley knew she was talking about Mike. Mike was smart, talented, and the hardest working monster he'd ever met. But he was also small, friendly, and not exactly scary. Sulley was worried. He really wanted his team to win. And the next day was the final Scare Games event. The big day arrived. There were just two fraternities left, Roar Omega Roar and Oozma Kappa. The monsters had to scare a robot child. One by one, the members of both teams faced off. In the end, it came down to Mike. Roar! He got a perfect score. Oozma Kappa had won the Scare Games. But Mike soon realized that Sulley had cheated. He changed the setting to easy during Mike's turn. You don't think I'm scary? What was I supposed to do? Let the whole team fail? Sulley replied. Mike wanted to prove he was scary. He snuck through a door into the human world and ended up in a camp cabin filled with dangerous children. But they didn't think he was scary either. Sulley snuck through the door to get his friend back, but Mike wanted Sulley to leave. After what had happened, Mike didn't think he was special. I try to give people what they want, but all I do is let them down, Sulley told Mike. You're not the only failure here. Mike was surprised. But just then, the Rangers arrived. Mike and Sulley knew they needed to get back to the monster world. To open the door, Sulley had to scare the Rangers enough to power the door. When Mike and Sulley made it back to Monsters University, they were kicked out of school. They hugged the OKs goodbye and left for their next big adventure together. In the mailroom at Monsters, Inc. The end, guys. Thank you so much for coming to my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!